Really, Minecraft? 2 cat CDs? Go to your happy place, go to your happy place, go to your happy place. Hello there, and welcome back to Roguecraft. You've caught me rummaging through my chest in preparation for an ocean monument raid. Why, you ask? Because it's there. That's why. Might as well ask me why I would break blocks with my pick, or why I would chop down a tree, or why I would stare lovingly at all my diamonds while caressing them when I don't think anyone else is around. Because they're there. My lovely, lovely diamonds. Brrr. On to the monument. But before we do that, let's take a look at the world map. Currently, boy, what a mess of random wanderings that is. Currently, I've found 10 ocean monuments, 3 of which are very close to spawn. Today, we're going to go for this one. My preferred method of doing a monument raid is to simply charge through the front door. I'm sure there are safer ways to do this, but it works for me. The secret of surviving Guardians is to constantly break line of sight with them, and as you saw, even though there were more Guardian beams than I could count, only one of them actually managed to damage me. I think it takes 5 seconds of uninterrupted line of sight before they hurt you. There are lots of opportunities to break line of sight, you just have to use your surroundings to your benefit. You know, this monument seems surprisingly free of Guardians at the moment. Oh, that's a bad room to go into. Or is it? Turns out it's perfectly safe if there aren't any Guardians around. Oh, but the little bubble at the top of the screen is telling me I might want to breathe soon. And as you can see from the door in my hand, I am on Java and will be making use of the magical oxygen-providing properties of a door. Yes, folks, not only do trees provide us with oxygen to breathe, so too do the doors we make from the trees. It truly is a magical, magical world we live in. At the moment, I'm looking for the Elder Guardians. There's 3 in every monument, and the main danger they pose is that they can curse you with mining fatigue. In fact, one of them got me before I even got through the front door. I drank that milk to clear the mining fatigue so I can break through the walls and hopefully find one of them. They got me already. Mining fatigue is annoying enough on its own, but it lasts for so very, very, very long. That's why bringing milk is a requirement, but I only brought so many buckets and I don't want to use them all up before I even found one of the elders. Now I know there's one in the center at the top of the monument and one on each side of the monument near the front. I was hoping to find the one at the top when I was digging up there. I think I'm somewhere in the center, and I did actually bring a conduit along, so it's time to stop messing around with doors. Normally I would bring along a slime block to place the conduit on top of, but sadly I didn't have one. If you didn't know, slime blocks don't require a tool to break, so they are one of the very few blocks that can be broken instantly, even when you have mining fatigue. But no worries, we'll manage without one.
2 hours later.
Okay, kinda wish I thought to bring a spoon along, but as stubborn as I can sometimes be, I think it's time to break out the ender chest and let the spoon do its thing. Punching dirt just isn't doing it for me. You know, this is actually starting to get a little weird. I've never seen a monument that didn't have any Guardians inside. I mean, you can see all the red dots on the map. They're out there. But strangely, and thankfully, I guess, they're not in here. And now that we can breathe underwater, it's time to take out the elders. I am lucky enough to have an enchanted trident with me. The beach in front of my base has been overflowing with drown this season. But you don't need one to raid one of these places. Obviously it's easier, but you can do a lot of damage with a bow as well. People seem to think they are useless underwater, but that's not completely true. You can't use them at a long distance, but they are still very powerful if within 3 blocks, even underwater. And now that we have the first one out of the way, let's see if we can't find the other two. We finally found Elder number 2. If you ever find a room that looks like this, there will be an Elder Guardian swimming somewhere nearby. It looks like some of the regular Guardians finally heard I was here because this one has bodyguards. This room is a perfect example of how to use your surroundings to your advantage. All you have to do to keep yourself safe is keep a wall or pillar between you and the Guardians when you are readying your next attack. Every time you break line of sight with them, they have to start their attack over. As long as you keep this in mind, you'll be safe. There is definitely something strange about how this monument generated. Extremely few Guardians, magma blocks in the floor. Something definitely went wrong here, but I'm not going to look this gift horse in the mouth. Normally this room here would have 6 to 8 Guardians along with an Elder, but there's Elder number 3 hiding away in that little corridor. Take that, you big one-eyed beastie. I almost feel bad killing it the way it was stuck there, but the monument is now freed. No more mining fatigue here. Now let's see if we can find any sponges. Sponges? Nope, that's gold. Sponges? 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 Sponges?
2 hours
Sponges?
later.
Sponges? Well, as far as I can figure, the reason there were so few Guardians inside the Ocean Monument was because a bunch of them grabbed all the sponges and took them with them when they decided to go make a new life somewhere else, far, far away. So, we had an easy go of the monument, but the whole reason we went there, the sponges, was a bust. We walked out of there with only 3 sponges, the ones we got from killing the Elders. Ah well. And then I found this little guy lost out in the middle of nowhere. I attempted to rescue him, but sadly, couldn't ever get him to take an item from me. Maybe I'll come back later and try this with a lead. Stay safe, little guy. A couple of episodes ago, I mentioned that I was out collecting mushrooms and never mentioned why. The reason I needed so many mushrooms was I wanted to build a slime farm. An above-ground slime farm. Right now you might be going, what does one have to do with the other? One of the unexpected changes that came with mobs spawning in light level 0 is that you can make an above-ground slime farm in a swamp and not have to go through the headache of trying to find a slime chunk. Slimes spawn in swamps, say that 3 times fast, except during a full moon. This makes slime farms a lot easier to set up. The only issue is trying to control the light level inside the farm, and this is where it gets a little explainy, but I'll try and be quick about it. Slimes will spawn in swamps at any time of day provided that the light level is below 8. Any mob will spawn in light level 0, so the trick is to have a light level above 0 but lower than 8. And that is where brown mushrooms come in, because they provide a light level of 1. Why? Who knows? Because Minecraft. So what all this means is that you make a little box that doesn't allow any light inside, place it inside a swamp, and then fill all the spawning locations inside the box with brown mushrooms. And the only thing that can spawn inside is a slime. Now to be clear, red mushrooms won't work. Why? I don't know. They're lazy? They just can't be bothered to provide light? Who knows? The only thing that matters is brown mushrooms work and red mushrooms don't. Before anyone starts thinking, Gragore, you're a genius! I'll have to say, well, yeah, but no. All credit goes, as it usually does in these situations, to Ilmango. I'll be sure to link his video below, where he goes into great detail about how to make this farm and how it works. But the gist of it all is, create a dark box, fill it with mushrooms, find a way to kill the mobs, and place a collection system underneath. And with the farm finally built, all we have to do is climb up 120 blocks of scaffolding to the AFK spot and see what kind of spawns we get. Using my spectator account to look inside, we can see that although the farm may not be the fastest slime farm ever, it still works very well for how simple it is to build. The hardest part of the whole farm was collecting enough brown mushrooms, and the best tip I can give you for that, assuming you don't have some massive mushroom farm to get them from, is find a giant tree taiga and spend half an hour collecting them. It is much faster getting them there than collecting them from a dark oak forest. Now that we know it works, it's time to finish it off. For me, that means slap a coat of paint on it in the form of carpets in an attempt to make the whole farm look like a giant slime on the map. And there it is in all its slimy glory. You may be wondering why it has a nose, and I could say, it's because he just looks so darn cute with a nose. But the reality is that sometimes you just have to work around what is there. And the nose just happens to be the AFK platform covered in carpet. There's no way to avoid the shadow of the platform on the map, so you have to find a way to work with it. In this case, a nose, and to be honest, it does look cuter with a nose, so it all worked out in the end. As if the Nether wasn't scary enough on its own, it appears that someone, and I don't want to name names here, has led a warden into the Nether. I found a skulk-filled cave recently, but hadn't taken the time to explore it yet, but if I had to guess, I'd say someone has. I was hoping to at least see one, but for the life of me, I can't find it. Obviously it's in the area, but even using the map to try and find it, I'm struggling to figure out where it is. At the moment, it doesn't appear to be a danger to anyone other than the piglins, so, for now, I'll leave it to play with them. And now it's time for another bit of random. You know, I think it might be time to call up pest control. This has been another bit of random. I'm out at the stronghold today, and for those keeping track, it's day 24 on the server, and we're in a holding pattern on the dragon hunt / end raid. But while we are, I had the thought that maybe we'd do something to the portal room to pretty it up a bit. It's funny, the portal room gets used a lot over the season, but we've never really done anything with it other than to set up another portal, maybe plop down some beds and a few chests. This year, I thought it would be nice to surprise everyone with a portal room that was all nice and spiffy, like the kids say. Kids still say spiffy, right? Well, of course they do. Spiffy is a great word. Why, just listen to the way it rolls off the tongue. Spiffy, spiffy, spiffy. All right. It sounds more like a name you'd give a dog, but, I like the word, so spiffy it is. As for what exactly I plan to do with the portal room, well, as you should know by now, I haven't got a clue. The only thought I'm having at the moment is something to do with skulk blocks. I just thought I'd randomly place some down until something looks good. But you know what? I think this might be one of those rare times when I need to go into my creative world and try things out. So I started off with this, just playing around with stair patterns and contrasting blocks and threw in some water for some off-color variety, but just wasn't feeling it. And over here it's a little more the same, stair patterns and water, but now a little closer to what I was thinking with dark prismarine and skulk mix going on. But that led me to this. Now this I like very much. The skulk veins allow for a much smoother gradient style of build for the floor. This is kind of what I was seeing in my head and just couldn't figure it out until I tried. I used sandstone for the blocks next to the portal. Endstone would probably be a closer match, but I haven't been to the end yet, so I don't have any to play with. Then dark prismarine, followed by the skulk with some veins on top, and finally just skulk. Ends up making the portal look a bit like an eye, don't you think? As for the rest of the room, I went with a small dome effect. None of the walls in here completely match, as I was using them to compare slightly different block palettes to each other. Trying out blackstone versus cobbled deep slates, along with some cobblestone or some stone brick or andesite walls. Just constantly trying different blocks out to see how the textures work together. The support structure for the dome itself is meant to be a nod to the stronghold, making use of the iron bars along stone bricks. But let's head back to the server and see what the final version looks like. So I expanded the nether portal area and added some storage embeds in here for everyone to use when we're ready to hunt us some dragon. I added some paintings on the wall to break up all the stone brick. You know, I really think it's time Minecraft added a few new painting options, don't you? The floor in the portal room is pretty much as you saw it before, but here you can see the final version of the dome, where I ended up going with deep slate bricks alongside stone bricks to use different shades of the same textured blocks. I think it all came together well. The similar textures of blackstone and cobblestone and calcite all work well together and lessen the effect of the sharply contrasting colors. The amethyst in the center was meant to be sort of a reflection of the nether portal that players would see through the open fourth wall. In the center of the dome is white stained glass with packed ice behind it to give the illusion of the sky being visible above and to contrast sharply with the darkness of the floor and the end portal itself. The floor will look even better once the portal is lit. All that's left now is to fill up the barrels and chests with dragon hunt items like slow-falling potions, empty bottles to gather dragon's breath, spyglasses, scaffolding, bridging supplies, arrows, whatever I can think of to make it easier for everyone on the day. But I think that's where I'm going to have to cut it off. Hopefully the dragon hunt happens in the next episode because my back is really starting to itch for the feel of an elytra. Or it could just be dry skin. Either way, while I mine some quartz, let me say thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I enjoyed making it. And until next time, I have been Gragore, and this has been Roguecraft. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, always try and find a way to have some fun. See ya!